afternoon, everyone. My name is Aarti H Modasiya, and I'm very pleased to share our research done with my colleagues Tripti Kohli and Dr. Palto Datta. So our paper is titled as Dialectical Contradiction for Enhancing Teaching and Learning for Postgraduate Business Students in UK Higher Education. In next few minutes, I'm going to introduce key ideas, research objectives, literature review, themes, and gaps. Then my colleague Tripti Kohli will take over and she's going to talk about methodology, Prisma framework, conclusions, and the implications. So let's start with the background. In higher education, especially in business schools, students have been asked to search one correct answer, and in reality, the problems are not always that simple. So our research, Dialectical Contradiction, that talks about teaching concept where we learn by opposing ideas, debating, and resolutions. To think about this process, which is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, where one idea, then an opposite idea, and then combining them together to create something more stronger. So our main objective was to find that how this method helps the students to think more better and learn more effectively. The next I have is theoretical foundation and evolution. Now, dialectical contradiction has been there since very long time. So there are three categories: ancient origin, classical development, contemporary application, which we can say modern application as well. So here in ancient origin, Heraclitus talk about that opposites are natural. They help us to grow. If I have to give you an example, I would say light, dark, day and night. They are opposite, but they both are needed for a balance. Similarly, in classical development, Hegel said that we all learn through a process. So thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, again, one idea, then an opposite idea, and then combining them together to create more stronger idea. Lastly, we have contemporary applications where philosophy, where the idea is moved from philosophy to real classrooms. So lastly, a contemporary applications where the philosophy, the idea is not just a philosophy, now it has changed, it has entered to the real classrooms. So the scholar like Brandom, he talks about how dialectical contradiction helps the student into critical thinking and work more effectively, learn more effectively. So these are not only the theories, but these are the tools which is very helpful in learning and teaching today. Talking about 5 key literature review things. The first one is critical reflection and deep learning. So contradiction makes students stop, think, and look at some other sides of the topic as well. In resilience and adaptive learning, by facing different opinions in the class, students learn how to adapt and respect the opinions. In business pedagogy effectiveness, they stayed engaged. So real world case study where there is no one correct answer and they have to debate. So students get more interested in the topic. Enhancing teaching methods where teachers can use conflict to design the lesson more better. And the entrepreneurial self-efficacy where students try to solve the problem and think like an entrepreneurs or a business leaders. And at last, I have the research gaps. The first one is empirical application gap, where this theory is taught, this idea is taught much in the theory, but not actually tested in the real classrooms. The cross-cultural integration, where where students from different cultures, they see disagreement in a different ways. Some students get involved or are interested in it, and some students, they just avoid it. Digital learning environment, where we don't know enough about this method, how it works in online classrooms. For example, in online classrooms, students just share their answers, but they are missing the real live discussion in the face-to-face classroom. Lastly, the entrepreneurial learning. Now, this is very, this theory or this idea is very little research that how to make student more involved, or how they can upgrade their skills into business, or how they can upgrade their business skills. So in short, dialectical contradiction is very old idea which works very powerfully in learning and teaching area, but there are some gaps as well. So now I would like to call my colleague Tripti Kohli to take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aarti, for providing an excellent overview of dialectical contradiction. It has set up a base for me to continue forward. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Tripti Kohli, will be taking you forward to our research methodology, followed by key findings, conclusion, and future implication. Our research was driven by a simple yet profound question. And the question was, how can we harness the power of dialectical contradiction to transform postgraduate business education in the UK? We employed a systematic literature review using Prisma framework. Our methodology, it is just like a methodological GPS, which helped us to deep dive into vast ocean of education research. We were not just doing literature review, we were doing a detective work that has academic rigor. In terms of our data sources, we used high quality peer review articles from databases like ERIC, ProQuest, Google Scholar. And in terms of our inclusion and exclusion criteria, we followed a very strict inclusion and exclusion criteria. Only English language was used, followed by peer review articles from developed countries. And we also focused on the current research, which was based from 2020 to 2025. Our Prisma screening process. So initially we started with 251 articles, which was screened down to 53 articles, following the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Now I will be talking about our key finding. The first key finding was critical thinking as a supercharger. Dialectical contradiction not only ensures critical thinking, but it supercharges it. Students who are using thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, they develop more learning, they develop more subject knowledge as compared to traditional teaching. The second key finding was contradiction as catalyst. When we think of tensions between autonomy versus collaboration, tradition versus innovation in curriculum designing, these are not bugs, these are features. And when we use them as features, it helps us to do innovation in teaching pedagogy. Our third finding was about resilience and equity engine. We saw that when we did our research, we analyzed that when students are coming up with contradictions, they become more adaptable. They bring more entrepreneurial mindset, and they can work in complexities. In terms of equity, what we found out is when we do dialectical contradiction, it promotes education equity. When we give space to opposing ideas, especially including privileges, cultural differences. We not only promote diversity, but we harness it. In terms of our conclusion and future recommendation, now what we have for UK higher education. For educators, we should not stop avoiding contradiction. Rather, we should start orchestrating them. Now, for students, we know that when they are coming up into dialectical contradiction, they face discomfort. Well, when they show discomfort, it is not confusion. They are giving rise to a new knowledge, to a new power. In terms of curriculum designers, there is a need to develop assignments that focuses on making a scenario which can help students to synthesize so that they can develop from the chaos and they can do innovation with constraints. And thank you so much.